Hello, everyone. It's Royce here, and I want to welcome you all to the Royce in the House YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, before we get going here, could everybody please hit that thumbs up or like button? It distributes the show to a wider audience. Just good for the show, good for growth. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already a subscriber, please go ahead and do me a proper. Hit that subscribe button, and when the bells pop up, hit the
as long as
very
it's from
top.
licorice.com.
Very top notification bell, so you'll get a one-time notification when a new show is coming on. So subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you so much. Tonight we're going to be talking about the iconic Pink Floyd, and let's see, we've got Michael Nolan down here we're trying to add to the stage, and we still don't have his picture, so I guess we're going to have to just kind of jump right into it. We can give Michael another minute. We can say hi to a few people. Dr. Rick's in the chat. And Eric Schultz, let's see, a bunch of the guys that were in the chat are actually on the show now. Douglas is on here, and Douglas Gilbert. And Michael Nolan's trying to get on. Dividing Dragon, good to see you, my brother. Good to see you, my brother. Okay, so anyway, we got quite a few people here. I'm excited about this show because I think everybody is pretty much a Pink Floyd fan, you know. And I know I am, and I've got some of their music. Hey, Dawson, how are you? Okay, so right now I'm going to introduce. I've got Chris Elliott sitting next to me. Chris has been a regular for some time now. Very knowledgeable. We appreciate having him on always. We have David Safe and Sound. David, how are you?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, David.
Good to see you, David. Thanks for joining us. You know, we always appreciate you joining.
Actually, Pink Floyd records.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, I knew you'd have some. So I knew you'd have as many as the rest of us combined, if not more. But anyway, I'm just kind of going around the horn here, introducing everybody. Sure. I just introduced Chris Elliott. Next to Chris, who just dropped off the screen, is Dawson Walters. How you doing, Dawson?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Good. Glad to hear it, brother. You've been showing up a lot on the show. Below you, we have the one and only Novice Nick, and Nick's become a regular as well, and appreciate you. And next to him and below me is David, Safe and Sound Texas Audio. David is, oh my God, I always love it when David shows up. I love it when everybody shows up, but David is such an audiophile, man. He knows all this stuff inside and out. And we really appreciate it whenever he shows up. We got Gringo Pines in the chat. Hey, folks, good to see you all tonight. Michael Nolan. Michael's having a little trouble getting on. So hopefully he'll be joining us shortly. Hey, Storm Cop 55 is here. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. So glad you showed up. You and Dr. Rick and Caitlin. And all right, we're going to have to jump into the show, and hopefully Michael will be with us shortly. So we're going to talk about Pink Floyd here. I'll kind of kick it off with a little narrative here. You know, Pink Floyd formed in 1965 by Syd Barrett. They gained an early following as one of the first British psychedelic groups. They were distinguished by their extended songs, sonic experiments, philosophical lyrics, elaborate live shows. They became a legend. They became a leading band of the progressive rock genre. Many say the greatest progressive rock band of all time. So before I want to go any, those are some pretty big statements there. I want to see what you guys all think about. Are they or are they not one of the greatest progressive rock bands of all time?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, David, go ahead. Tell us what your thoughts.
They've had various incarnations, so to speak, I guess. You know, with Syd Barrett being the bass line early on.
Yes, that's right.
And you know, you look at like some of the tracks on Uma Guma, for example, and they're pretty crazy out there. But their creativity, you know, was always, even when a band member left or something changed, they always were able to find a new way to transmit their messages through the music and the words. So
yeah,
they just really had a lot of depth, I guess, a lot of bench in their way.
A lot of bench. I like that. Yeah. They had a deep bench. Yeah, they did great. What do you guys think, Chris, Novice, Dawson? What do you guys think about them being one of the maybe the greatest of all time as far as?
Yeah, I think they're in number 4. Well, I think we just lost Royce. But to answer his question, in his absence, I think they're my probably 4th favorite band. Like Led Zeppelin, probably the Rolling Stones, the Tragically Hip, Pink Floyd. The Beatles actually would be before the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, I think most people do that. Although later on, I kind of love the Rolling Stones are a little more edgy and stuff, and I just like that better later on. Oh, hey, look at this. We've got Michael Nolan, the bottom line, just joined us. How you doing, man?
Hey,
I'm doing well, Royce. For some reason, it wasn't accessing my camera, so I had to do a complete reboot. So sorry for the
Michael,
late show up, guys.
I just lost the whole screen and had to come back on myself.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was waiting in the green room, brother.
Oh, God, terrible, terrible. So anyway,
hey, Chris, Nick, David,
Michael.
And Dawson.
Hey,
Good
Michael.
to see all of you.
Good to see you, Michael.
Well, I had just mentioned that Pink Floyd, was formed by Sid Barrett, gained an early following as one of the British first psychedelic groups. Okay, but then at the end,
actually, they were formed by Nick Mason and Roger Waters. Sid Barrett was an old friend growing up with Roger Waters, but those two started the band, and then Nick came in, or Sid Barrett came in, started singing lead for them, and then their lead guitarist quit. He started playing guitar and lead until that whole thing. So yeah, the first 2 members to actually set up, we're going to start a band that would evolve into what we know as Pink Floyd was, Nick Mason and Roger Waters to begin with, brother.
Hey, before we get too much further, can I add to what Michael is saying?
Yes.
Because again, I'm taken out of the new edition from 1977. And they got all kinds of stuff about the beginning of Pink Floyd. And just to emphasize what Michael was saying, the original start of Pink Floyd was Waters, Mason, and Wright. They formed a group called the Herbadashers.
Herbadashers, yeah.
And then they changed the name to Sigma 6. And then they got a manager and he couldn't sell them. So they changed their name to the T-Set. Also the Abdabs. And even the Screaming Abdabs.
Oh, wow.
The T-Set, like TEA or TEE?
It's T-SET, capital S.
Because there was a band called the T-Set that had a hit called My Belle Amie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
I think Pink Floyd is one of the best progressive rock bands, but as I go deeper into each progressive rock band, and I've seen about half of them, I'm starting to question that. And there might be something better, but they're definitely the most popular progressive rock band.
Well, Dawson, if you don't mind, what are some of the bands that you're thinking may be better?
Well, I was just I took a 60s trip this week, and I was searching for the Lost Chord.
Oh, okay.
And I've seen the Moody Blues.
Yeah,
I've
Moody
seen,
Blues.
What's that?
I said I've taken 60s trips, but they were virtual.
No, I listened to,
it's interesting you're saying that, Dawson. I'll let you continue. Interesting you're saying that because I was in my own head comparing the Moody Blues with Pink Floyd today as I was listening to some of their music.
Wow.
As well, you should.
Thinking how there's some strong similarities.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Moody Blues, if you're going to talk about psychedelia, and also being at the same time a progressive band, I mean, Pink Floyd owes its ties to them as well as Yes, for that matter.
Right.
And people, it seems like their name hasn't lives as proudly since the members have quit. Although Justin is touring this year by himself, but I'm sure he's doing the Moody Blues catalog since he wrote most of them, or a goodly amount of it. But you know, when you listen to them, they had the spoken word. But it would be like cold-hearted orb. There you go,
Right.
man.
Right.
Open the door.
For it riles them to believe that you perceive the web. The spoken word poetry with a very avant-garde presentation, and yet always anchoring in the song. And I think that's what Roger Waters had to learn to do once they lost Sid, because Sid was the songster and Roger had to kind of warm up into it, and often using musical ideas by David Gilmour. And I think that's when Pink Floyd was at their strongest, is when David Gilmour and Roger Waters worked closely with each other, allowing other members to come in with their ideas.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Michael. Absolutely, as far as the progressive and the psych, but as well as the spoken word came out of the tea houses and the poetry houses as well. And
Good point.
what a great mesh they were for quite a few bands, actually.
Yeah.
Not enough of them, I think, but
Right.
it was well used.
Right.
And they all had a little bit of a like the symphonic side of the Moody Blues is
Yeah.
where they really
Yeah.
they
I see
had
that.
a niche.
Absolutely.
And I think Pink Floyd had a little more of a rock niche, and Yes had a bit of both in a way, because Wakeman was very symphonic, and
Right.
so kind of interesting the way they took little niches of their own with their
Mhm.
strengths.
Right.
Yeah. I'm really
Right.
feeling a Moody Blues show coming up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Long overdue.
I've probably got 7 or 8 of their albums.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Good stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, guys, let's see here. So, all right. So I got corrected on Sid Barrett starting the band. I actually found that and wrote it down, and so I was off on that. But anyway, so the
Well, he
original,
was there first. I mean, if you want to real, in a sense, he kind of did, in that when he arrived on the scene, that really,
Yeah.
it started developing its legs and even became an entity, a pre-entity of what
Yeah.
most casual fans think of as Pink
Right.
Floyd, right?
Well,
So in that sense, yes, without him, it wouldn't have gone anywhere.
Well, the original band consisted of what I called the founder, Sid Barrett, guitar and lead vocals, Nick
Right.
Mason, drums, Roger Waters, bass guitar and vocals, and Richard Wright, keyboards and vocals. With Barrett as the main songwriter, they released 2 hit singles, Arnold Lane and See Emily Play, and the successful debut album, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Okay.
Yeah.
In 67, David Gilmour guitar vocals joined in 67. Sid Barrett left in 68 due to deteriorating mental health. And I've heard a lot of
and he was
really
gone by
sad-
67 anyway.
yeah, devising concepts behind Pink Floyd's most successful albums. So The Dark Side of the Moon was in actually 73, Wish You Were Here was 75, Animal 77, The Wall 79, and the musical-based film The Wall, Pink Floyd, won 2 BAFTAs. Pink Floyd also composed several film scores. Okay, so let's see what we want to say about all that.
Hey, can I cut in again?
Okay.
I just read a little bit further down in this book, and I think this is pretty interesting. It kind of is different than what you were just saying for their timeline. It says, remember I was saying the different bands,
Mm-hmm.
and as the Abadas, they were given their first interview in the Poly newspapers. At the time, Clive Metcalf played bass, and Roger Waters was on lead guitar,
Right.
with Wright and Mason. And they had 2 singers, Keith Noble and Juliet Gale. As they broke up, Gale married Richard Wright, Mason and Wright tried again, this time bringing in jazz guitarist Bob Close. Waters also brought in Sid Barrett, whom he knew from Cambridge. Barrett named the group after a record he owned by the Georgia bluesman Pink Anderson and Floyd Council.
Yep.
Yeah. And he called them the Pink Floyd sound. Musical differences between Bob Close and Barrett caused the former to leave.
So the age-old question as to which one was Pink, it was Pink Anderson.
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. Pink Anderson and Floyd Council. Yep.
Wow.
And it's interesting. The their first single, it's about a cross-dresser.
Yeah.
You know.
Davis says that in here too.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so Michael, we just came from Michael Nolan's The Bottom Line, his live on every 6 o'clock. I'm sorry, Michael, 5 o'clock on Sunday. Michael goes live. It was a great show. Really enjoyed it, Michael. You did an excellent job on that.
Oh, we had a fun time over there tonight, Royce.
Man, did we
And
ever.
I barely scratched the surface of the subject, so I'm going to have to bring it up and broach it up again because
Right.
It needs more time to breathe than less than an hour, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so anybody have any comments at this moment?
Yeah, when the Pink Floyd Museum tour came to Toronto,
Okay.
I was in there for hours, man. Like, they had everything from the beginning to Pulse and the Endless River. So one of the things to add on to what Chris was saying was that there was a tree of each formation of the band, of each members, and there was a map on the wall where they had each location of each jam session where that happened. Where they would go up the street to Sid's house and they jam, and then they'd go into Roger's basement and then Dave's living room, and then they'd be like, this jam happened on this day, and then their first gigs, and it was cool. Or they just had this map that picked out the timeline of each.
Right. Well, following the personal tensions, Wright left Pink Floyd in 81, followed by Waters in 85. Gilmour and Mason continued as Pink Floyd, rejoined later by Wright. They produced the album A Momentary Lapse of Reason in 87 and the division Bell in 94, both backed by major tours in 2005. All but Barrett reunited for the performance at the Global Awareness event Live 8. Barrett died in 2006, Wright in 2008. The last Pink Floyd studio album, The Endless River, was in 2014 and was based on unreleased material from Division Bell's recording sessions. In 2022, Gilmour and Mason reformed Pink Floyd to release the song Hey Hey Rise Up in protest of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Okay, so you know what? I had never heard that before.
There's a couple of things. You talked about how Richard Wright left the band during the wall. The truth of that whole thing started with the album before that, Animals. He was going through some problems and he was showing up less on his own volition during Animals. That left a sore spot in with Roger Waters, who felt that he wasn't putting into it. By the time they were done with that, his input to the band was less and less, and there was a falling out between him and Roger at the very least. And some of the other two weren't exactly excited about him, how he was putting in. So he was invited out of the band. He never left the band. He was told he was out. He was voted out, and he did contribute to some of the tracks, but very almost nothing as far as a contribution for The Wall or Animals. And he would continue to tour with them, but he was a hire on, just like Joe Walsh or Timothy B. Schmidt, not being true Eagles. Us fans at the time, Royce, we didn't know that. We thought, we thought they were the same four guys. and that Roger Waters was just on a writing streak, and there was nothing left for, certain other members of the band, and but the real truth was around, and it can also be said that one of the reasons why Richard Wright wasn't showing up is because of Roger Waters insisting to write the whole damn thing. He had, right around this time with Animals, he had built a recording studio in his tool shed and had recorded much of what he wanted to be on there, only to come back with David Gilmour being the only one that had the guts enough to say, hey, wait a minute, man, there's no room here for any other ideas. And he was, but this is the way it's got to be. And they knew they had great fortune with him having more power. And on Animals, Only Dogs is the only thing that's co-written by another member other than Roger Waters. And that was co-written by Gilmour only after he had to stand up to him. Now, think about Richard Wright. He's my favorite member because he's the nicest guy out of the band. Yeah. Think of his personality, all the interviews you've ever seen of him. He's a nice guy. He isn't the kind of guy to go toe-to-toe with a guy that will tell an entire arena, if you don't like my politics.
Yeah.
Right. And that was their truly last great album. And I think it is a great album. A lot of Floyd fans don't care for The Division, though. It sold well enough, but, because they're Pink Floyd. Yeah, but fans and critics alike criticized it heavily. I like it. I like it, and what an album cover, huh, David?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, great
I
album
actually had
cover.
a chance to go to that tour, but it kind of fell through the floor. But The Division.
Yeah, I missed it a little bit too. Yeah,
fizzled out.
Bill K made an interesting comment earlier. Let me run back here and see if I can pull that up. My good old friend Bill K. He enjoyed Pink Floyd, but it just got to the point in my later years where if it came on the radio, I'd change the channel. Too much radio airtime had caused me to burn out. Haven't we all felt that way about somebody somewhere along the line?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Novice. Go ahead.
Yeah, Bill K has a point. And when I would hear it come on the radio or what have you, I too would turn it off. But it would remind me, you know what? Why spoil it on the radio? I'll go home and drop a needle and enjoy it to its fullest. If I'm going to listen to it, enjoy it to its fullest or don't bother at all. Right?
Well, I'm in the same way, Nick. There's several bands and albums that if it shows up, Stairway to Heaven, click.
Right.
And usually, now with Led Zeppelin, we have a local station. Well, it's not local. It's owned by the tendrils of the machine. But they do have an hour block where they do a Led Zeppelin. And Led Zeppelin is one of those bands I can either listen to a whole lot on the radio, with the exception of Stairway to Heaven or Kashmir. I just don't want those ruined. So I'll turn the channel for that. But they're one of those bands I can listen to either on the radio. They don't get old. But it is true what you're saying, especially with Dark Side of the Moon. I can't listen to it anywhere except for what I call night listening, Nick.
Yeah.
That's when the sun's gone down. I sit down, I commit to listening. I'm out in the living room by myself. My wife is watching a movie by herself and I listen to it, And then it always sounds fresh that way,
Okay, I'm going to ask for a show of hands, guilty pleasure. Who has more than 4 copies of Dark Side of the Moon? Raise your hand.
More than 4 copies?
Who has more than 5?
I'm 4. I'm 4.
Who has?
Wow.
I'm going to stop there. I got a few more.
Okay.
I got Brazilian. A couple. I actually got a mistake on Whatnots. I purchased a Dark Side of the Moon His numbers aren't what was on the dead wax. And when I looked it up, you would die if I told you what I paid for a 30th anniversary. One person on this screen knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I was like, this can't be right. I had to have it reconfirmed by somebody else, the dead wax on it, because I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait, what? Wrong cover, but do we play the cover?
No.
But I was a happy camper.
Right on. I'm going to say hi real quick to a couple of people that
Sure.
we've got. Botsman socks. Piccolina has joined us. Of course, Bill Case here.
That's for you,
Dr.
Piccolina.
Rec, Douglas Gilbert. Good to see you, my brother. Kevin Hall, Surfing Chronulia. Okay. Rampage Video. Who's that? No, I'm kidding. James Redding, Ben Schneidiger. Thank you so much for joining. Vinyl Piper has joined us. I mentioned a lot of the other people earlier, and even typed some things in when I.
By the way, Royce, Divining Dragon is in there. You may have said hi to him. I was going to suggest. I've made a couple of suggestions from people who kind of come from my channel. He'd be a good moderator. He's one of my moderators.
Oh no, I'll hook him up for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And anybody on the panel, by the way, that comes over on the stream in the future, let me know, and I'll make you guys moderators over on my stream as well.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah, I'd like to be one if you can.
No, you're right. Divining isn't yet. Okay. So yeah, no, I'll definitely.
It's this time, folks.
Thumbs up. Yeah, get your thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Thank you.
Hit that
in
thumbs
case
up
there's
button.
anybody out there that doesn't know how important that is to a podcaster, what it does is the algorithm, if you get enough thumbs up, the algorithm will present your show to people searching for content, and they will intensify that the more you get, and they'll keep doing it the more you get. So it's really important because that gives us an opportunity to be seen by people that have never heard of us before, and gives us an opportunity to get new friends coming on the show, new subscribers. And everything just kind of feeds upon itself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it really does make it. It really does make a difference.
Yeah, we have 35 right now with 43 watching. Please tap that like button.
Yeah, if we could hit 50 by show's end, that would be huge. 50's like that first milestone. But I will say this: it doesn't work to get it a week or two later. They really want you to have it within the day of the show, no later than the next day, and then you get that extra boost from them, which is really cool. And I've experienced that, and it's amazing when it happens. Pardon me?
Absolutely.
What's this guy down here got?
You got a story. I got a quick story for you guys if you'd like.
Oh, we'd love it.
So Dark Side of the Moon,
of course.
Quad. Dark Side of the Moon was actually first mixed in quad.
Okay.
It was made to release in quad, and you can find these in quad. This is German. This one happens to be German. So, these, it sounds amazing. On the run, the guy's running in a circle. I mean, even if you have a 5.1 system, it'll decode it.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is an amazing new way to listen to it. And I'm going to do something, Royce, for you I've never done before. I haven't even done it on my channel. I'm going to make a file available through the chat. Which is the very first mix of Dark Side of the Moon.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah, it was a friend of mine's brother-in-law is a guitarist for Alan Parsons on tour. And
that's awesome.
He provided this, and you'll hear the differences and you'll hear the similarities. Obviously, I think what they ended up with was really great, but it gives you an idea. So this is a one-day file that's on WeTransfer, so you can click on it and download it. It's an MP3 file. So I'm going to go ahead and send that link out right now.
Outstanding.
So it's up for one day. Anybody that wants to download it, you can.
So it'll be up all day. Will it be up all day tomorrow?
It'll be up for 24 hours from now.
Okay. Okay.
Well, damn, Royce, that's worth a thumbs up right there.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Oh, man, that's
You
outstanding.
know what? That's
Hey.
value for your thumb.
Okay, well, I've got to I've got to ask everybody, but I think David may be the one most likely to have an answer for me. Okay, I went into my local record store yesterday afternoon. I was looking for some Pink Floyd. They didn't have much there, and they didn't really have anything. But anyway, so I went over to the just arrived bin, and the first thing I see is, if I'm not mistaken, it was Led Zeppelin 2. And there was like 3 copies of it. And I picked one up and it said $350. And I was like, David, have you ever heard that before?
On a Pink Floyd?
No. It was
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin 2, yeah, a whole lot of love. Yeah, that's the RL. That's the Robert Ludwig thing.
That Robert
Yeah.
Ludwig thing. Thank you. I'd never heard of it before. They were $350. Does that sound halfway normal for what it is right now?
It depends on the condition, but a good condition one will go for even more than that.
You're kidding me. So could you maybe describe...
Robert Ludwig is hot right now, especially with Zeppelin.
Okay, well, I was hoping, David, you're familiar with this. Maybe you could
Yeah,
describe
I did a
exactly
video
what
on my
happened.
channel. I did a video on my channel.
Okay.
So he cut that for the first cut of that. Led Zeppelin 2 was cut very bass intensive and to the point where most turntables couldn't track it
At the time, right? I mean,
at the time.
You're right.
And
okay.
so, there's multiple stories out there about whether the president of Atlantic or his niece or something,
Right.
somebody close to an executive's kid couldn't play it. And so
Okay.
they went nuts and they pulled those records. They remastered it to take that, to lessen that.
Bastards.
And so the RLs are coveted on both sides. That's Robert Ludwig's initials.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it does sound unbelievable. And I have a copy. I got one in
Oh,
Sweden.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I got a copy of VG Plus, which is hard to find a VG Plus, to be
Okay.
honest.
Well, these 3 that were there looked like, really pristine condition. So, so are they?
$350 for pristine is reasonable.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I probably still won't get it, but I'm really happy to hear you say that.
Yeah.
I knew if anybody knew, you would know.
Oh yeah.
So, okay. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Now, what was that called again?
Robert Ludwig Hot Mix. They call
Robert
it.
Ludwig.
It's really a hot master. They
Right.
call it.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay.
way he mastered it. That's the more
Well,
appropriate.
that's really interesting that I
His
stumbled
mixes
across
are
that.
very wanted across the board, it seems,
Yeah.
these days. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's one of those named people. Unfortunately, he just retired last year.
I didn't know he had retired. I don't
Yep.
keep up on it that much. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I played mine to shit.
You'll know the
Hey!
difference when you hear it, guys. That's for sure.
Hey,
mean-
our good friend, Just the Facts Man, is here. So you'll know the difference right away, right, David?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
okay.
Dan,
I
you
need to go
coming
down
up
there.
tonight?
Dan, you want to come? I'll put a link up right now if you want to jump
Yeah.
on, Dan.
He was over at
Yeah.
my stream.
Yes, he was. Yeah, so
Blessed me very much. Thank
I've
you,
got a
sir.
link up. I've got a link up. Dan the man, Dan the Facts Man. Dan goes way back, and he co-hosted with me a couple of years back, and then he got busy and things were going on, and he kind of backed way off for a while. But now Dan's kind of coming back into the scene a little bit, and we're really, really excited about that.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I was only able to catch the very tail end of your show, Michael. For me to be able to catch you live on Sundays has been a
Little
tough
early
fit.
for you, huh? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I usually always watch it back. Always a good show.
Yeah, it was a good show. It, like I said, we got into the meat of things, and then I was ready to get on over here.
Right,
So,
right.
I
In
got to
27
carry
minutes.
the theme on.
So, Nick, I got to ask you. You sent me an email I read earlier today that said you might not even be making it to this channel.
Right. Yeah, I was. I'm having some stuff done at the restaurant, and
Okay.
contractor stated they wanted to come Sunday night. And hey, when the contractor says he's going to be there, you accommodate him, right?
Right. Yeah. Right.
And come to find it, he got something this week. He called me after I sent that message to you. He called me and told me he was under the weather and just had a fever. And I said, "Hey, take it easy, get better. Don't worry about it. We'll catch it later."
Right.
Hey, Nick,
Hey,
it sounds like your mic's trying to do Morse code while you're talking.
Yeah, Nick,
I know
you
it.
got that continuous clicking sound going again.
It's like tapping.
Yeah, I haven't fixed my camera yet. Here, let me give it a good shot. Let's see if that fixed it.
Oh, good. Dan says he'll hop
How about-
on in just a minute. So
Oh,
How about
good.
now?
It's the same.
Yeah, no, it's still doing it.
Okay, well, Nick, while you're working on that, I got a little more
Mike's got the clap.
trivia from the book here.
Absolutely, go for it.
It talks about their first couple of singles. Obviously, Arnold Lane, Sid Barrett wrote that. We were talking about that earlier. But their second single, the original title was actually called Games for May, but was changed to See Emily Play, which I didn't really know that.
Okay.
And the album Piper at the Gates of Dawn, the title, Sid Barrett took the title from a chapter in the book. I just lost my place here. Oh, in the chapter of the book, Wind in the Willows, is where he got the title from in the Piper, or the Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Okay.
So just every once in a while, I'll just throw in,
Yeah.
something from the book to
Absolutely, Chris. I got to give Vinyl Piper a shout out. I have almost 30 copies of Dark Side of the Moon. 20 copies of Piper. It's a problem for sure.
Well, another thing about Piper is Sid Barrett, the picture on the back of the album, Sid Barrett drew that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, my
At least
granddaughter
according
used
to, the Gospel of Rock. 1977.
All right, so let's like. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate you saying that. We all like Royce, so let's like the live stream. Thank you so much. Okay, Dan. Dan. I have the East German quad, but I don't have the version Safe and Sound has.
Oh.
Hey, TJR.
Hey guys, I have a Pink
Classic
Floyd
Rock
box here. I didn't know if you guys wanted to see it or not.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, let's see it. Let's
Okay,
do a
just
little-
someone talk some more. I just need to set
Make
this
him
up
big.
here just so I can get it going. here.
Yeah. No worries. Let's see. So what I wanted to say, getting close to the end here. Okay, the hit singles, their hit singles included. Well, first of all, I got to back up a minute. Okay, Pink Floyd has sold more than 250 million records worldwide, okay, making them one of the best-selling musical artists of all time. The Dark Side of the Moon and The Wall were inducted in the Grammy Hall of Fame and were among the best-selling albums of all time. 4 Pink Floyd albums topped the Billboard 200 and 5 topped the UK album chart. Okay, so their hits include Arnold Lane, See Emily Play, Money in 73, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2, 79, Not Now John, 83, On the Turning Away, 87, High Hopes, 94. Pink Floyd were inducted to the U.S. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996 and the UK Hall of Fame in 2005. In 2008, they were awarded the Polar Music Prize for their monumental contribution to, over the decades, to the fusion of art and music in the development of popular culture. Okay, Nick or Dawson, are you ready?
Yep. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay. Let's get you back up here with your stuff. Okay.
to make him big for this one, Royce.
Absolutely, Michael. Thank you.
There you
Get
go.
the plastic off of there.
Wow, look at that! Look at that, man! That thing is like
Nice. There it is.
No,
Close to
don't
3
open it. No,
I'm
my
opening
address.
it.
My address is no. It's down.
Oh, he's opening. It's
See
a
what
puzzle?
he's doing to me, tribe. Oh my
that's,
God.
that's what I'm doing wrong. I'm not giving my address to everybody.
It's on.
Damn.
No, are
It's
you
on
sure that's
Arnold
not
Lane.
you sure that's not a jigsaw puzzle? I see the pieces on the side here.
You see the number on there? So this is like a poster from like '67. Right?
Okay.
Oh,
I just
Okay.
want to
cool.
see if there's any secret messages you guys know, like hypnosis and all the.
You know, I just remember the
Help!
days when you
I'm
walked
being held
into
prisoner
Oh my
headshots.
God, it is.
at a fortune cookie factory.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of you guys got a bunch of pieces over here, but I guess the only thing I can offer here is the description.
Okay, go
So,
ahead.
It says created for the visionary and iconic psychedelic rock band Pink Floyd. This 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle features a billing poster designed by world-renowned artist Bob Massey. Throw on your favorite album, Dark Side of the Moon, and piece together the magic that is Floyd. So, hey, thank you, Royce. It's my first ever unboxing. Looks like it's a puzzle,
right on.
so I'm going to be having a fun week this week.
Nice.
Yes, you are. Okay, good. I'll pull you back down before you ask me to do it. Okay, you know what? I'll show a couple of things real quick. Okay.
All
So,
right.
of
While you're
course,
grabbing that up, Royce, I'm going to add
Yes.
to when you were talking about those singles.
Yes.
They had their third single, which nobody knows because it flopped right away. On November 18th, 1967, they released Apples and Oranges.
No, okay, that wasn't
was,
on my list. Yeah.
Recorded at Delayed Sound Techniques and EMI Abbey Road, but it flopped. It did nowhere.
Okay. Right on.
Just
Okay.
one of those little tidbits I keep pulling out of this book.
Oh man, that thing has been a real encyclopedia of rock and roll. Let me tell you. Okay, so here is my first Dark Side of the Moon, the CD here. Okay, and I bought this. I don't know. It was a long time ago, fairly long time ago. Okay, I have another CD, but it's actually in my CD player, which holds 5 at once. Okay, just show a couple of CDs first. I've got also, and these are homemade ones. Okay, homemade ones. I've got Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, Momentary Lapse of Reason, and Pink Floyd, Division Bell. Okay. So then I have, of course, Pink Floyd, The Wall. You got to have Pink Floyd, The Wall. Okay. So that covers my Pink Floyd CDs. Okay. Next, I have an original pressing of Dark Side of the Moon. I pulled up to my little record store downtown, Traffic Records, during COVID. And I pulled up and I wanted to go in. He goes, "No, you got to come here by appointment only, and we only let one person at a time in." I go, "Oh," it was really kind of irritating me because I was really wanting to go and shop for records. And he goes, "Hey, look here." He grabbed this out of the window. It was on display. And he goes, "Here's an OG of Dark Side of the Moon. Just give me $35 and take this, okay?" I go, "Sure." And so I bought this original pressing, and it's in perfect condition, of Dark Side of the Moon for $35. Then I couldn't help myself. This remastered version came out. Okay, remastered version. I bought it. It's the Dark Side of the Moon remastered, the stereo remastered album on heavyweight 180-gram vinyl. Lists all the songs remastered from the original analog tapes by James Guthrie, Joel Plant, and Bernie Grunman. All names I'm familiar with.
The 2016.
Yeah, okay, the 2016. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, inside of the 2016, it came with a sticker.
Yep, it's the original sticker.
Original sticker, okay, and it also came with 2 posters. Yeah, and I'm gonna open these original posters. So I'll open these guys up. Original posters.
Man, he's doxing me. That's where I live.
Let's see what this other one looks like. I had it out earlier, but I don't remember. Had to have been 2 hours ago. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was kind of happy when I found those in there along with that little decal. And so other than that, all I have to show here is I've got the shrink wrap with the hype sticker right here, but it's Pink Floyd, The Wall, and This is a great albums. Okay, the stereo remastered album on heavyweight 180-gram vinyl, remastered from the original analog tapes. Once again, just like the other one, by the same three guys. So anyway, so that's the wall here. Okay,
Yep.
so that's my little show and tell. I don't know if anybody else has something. I'll get.
Yeah, I've got a few. Those are decent remasters, folks, for the money and
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the fact you're getting clean vinyl. They're not bad at all. They're very good.
Yeah,
So I've
thank
got
I
a few
agree.
that- I got a few that I got in Europe.
oh wow.
This is called Pink Floyd Eclipsed,
Okay.
and it's a in celebration of the comet Karotech. I'm sorry, and it's basically got Dark Side of the Moon live, done in 1972
Okay.
in
Wow.
stereo, and then there's Eclipse 2, and this is called Floyd's of London BBC concert.
Floyd's of London. I love it.
Yeah. It's got
Sounds
Fat
like-
Old Son, One of These Days, and then side 2 is 25 minutes of Echoes live in 1971. And then these are the unreleased Pink Floyd London collection, Summer Solstice
Oh, wow.
Nice.
and Spring Equinox.
No, wow. Nice.
So there's a variety of songs on here that they did that were probably ones that, didn't make albums, but they're very interesting songs actually.
Yeah.
So kind of a completist kind of thing, trying to
Yeah,
get,
completist kind of thing, but that's way cool.
Yeah.
It's okay to be a completist when it comes to, bands like this.
Yeah.
Michael and I always talk about a few people we know that are completists when it comes to the Beatles.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
They don't care how many copies of the same album or same songs they have. They're gonna keep buying everything that comes out.
For anyone who wasn't up here, I'm going to put the link again for that download of the first mix of Dark Side of the Moon right there.
There you go.
That link will be up there for 24 hours. So download it and listen to it, and you'll hear what their first attempt was.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Looks like I'm about 4 pages behind on the chat.
So that's okay.
You know,
That's why
that
it's
second link is worth 4 more thumbs ups, Royce.
Here you go, Michael.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. 4 more at least. Wait,
4
where
more
am
and
I?
we hit 50, baby.
You're kidding me.
Yep, we're at 46 thumbs up from what I can see.
I'm on my knees begging right now, folks. I just need.
And
4
we've
more.
had a record crowd showing up for this stream tonight.
And I appreciate each and every one of you. You have no idea. Let's see, David. You want me to make you smaller? Or are you going to show some more? Or?
No, I'm. That's what I got right now.
I think I see
okay,
the final
okay.
cut back there, and I see a relics. I think I see relics back there too.
Hey, Royce, you can blow me up and take me down in a heartbeat here. I've just to kind of join in. These are the albums that I've gotten, and longtime viewers will know I was big into vinyl back in the day. Had about probably 1,000-ish albums.
Yeah.
Got out of it. I've talked too much tonight. That's why I'm relatively quiet tonight. But and I got out of it, got into CDs. I had about 1,200 CDs, got rid of those, then got into streaming. And Royce here has turned me into a vinyl collector. And he did it very underhandedly, and I've blamed him for it ever since. I've
created a monster.
Yeah, I've got about 115 albums right now, Royce, and so I've been slow to catch up with Pink Floyd because when I first started collecting, I was out to get everything Zeppelin, even before the Beatles. It was the mood I was in, and so and then I turned my attention to the Beatles, started catching up with them. It's still not as whole as my Zeppelin collection, but it's getting there. And so I'm starting all over again, folks, a real small collection. But these are the ones that I've managed to get so far. And I've got the remastered metal.
Oh, nice.
And I love this. I love this album just because of Richard Wright alone. I love this album. And then, of course, Royce already showed this one. the 50th anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon. All right, I'm a completist enough that I would like to get a first pressing of that and compare them both. Get a good first pressing. So with Pink Floyd, the Beatles, and Led Zeppelin, I'm willing to get extra, but not like you crazy guys. And then I just did a video for my members where I unboxed this. This is my latest acquisition, the wall, and and along with a promise that I am going to reassess it with new ears. And in unwrapping it for the first time, you see, I never owned this on vinyl. I bought it on CD. Cuts a price at the time and everything. I could buy, a Doobie Brothers album and a Uriah Heep album rather than this one, and I would often. So, and then when I got the CD, if a song seemed a little long, from my couch, I could switch fast forward, or I could, click the next track. And so I don't feel I've given it its due. What I've said is some of Pink Floyd's very best material is on here, and it has seemed kind of bloated to me, but I'm going to give it a clear review, I promise. And I'm already vested just in opening it, and I admitted that I really, CD, you're not invested in all that what vinyl has to offer. And there's downsides to vinyl and there's upsides to vinyl. Downsides are pops, clicks, skips. Used records are iffy to buy sometimes, and the upsides are that because of the whole process, there's a warmer sound that a lot of audiophiles prefer, and I say it's the most superior form, even though I will never get the collection I used to have because of the size of the format. Because all of this, folks, is real estate that draws you in at this size. And in a CD, you toss the CD in the back seat, grab a CD of Zepp, put that on, toss that in the back seat, right? But this is an investment. And when you open it, if it's a gatefold, oh my goodness, it's like, it's Christmas, right? So I did get the remix for this. I'm glad I got it. But as soon as I heard it, I forgot that when I reviewed this remaster and remix of Animals, that I didn't care for the acoustic pieces because it doesn't fit the album. And if I had to choose, and then I'll shut up here. If I had to choose my favorite Pink Floyd album, you've got to go with Dark Side. Okay, I mean, it's the most complete. It's a perfect album. Not an inch of. There's nothing. It's a Grecian marble statue of art, right? But if my favorite besides that one is this, but I'm afraid even though this one sounds greater on the inside tracks. It's such a disappointment with the acoustic bordering tracks that I've got to go out and get, I'm looking for a first edition or even just a new copy of the original mix. And I like the original mix's cover a whole lot better than this, although this is kind of cool as an alternative cover, but it doesn't quite sell the idea. Remember what it's about. It's about animals representing the different psyches and predispositions of human beings, right? So when you have this on the original cover, what do you have? You have a plastic animal hovering above the world of mechanized mankind. And it represented it so well. And the size of it compared and the almost old-fashioned look of the smokestacks, whereas this new one looks, 2016, 2018. What year did this come out, David?
Which one?
This remix of Animals? The new remix?
2022, I think.
2022. Okay, so it's newer than I thought. So anyway, those are my 4, and so you can take me down at any time. But
Michael, I
I'm
need to
catching up.
I need to catch
Yes,
up with you
yes,
because
you
I've
are,
got
Michael.
a few versions I could send you. I think.
Oh wow! Oh, that'd be nice.
That 50th is probably the worst mix of Dark Side I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Really, yeah, because I like it so far, but Royce and I have talked about this. I want a first edition copy of that before I even do a video on it. You know, yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I've heard that. That it's inferior, and it sounded good to me, but I don't. You know, I don't have anything to compare.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I bought
One
the box
thing
set and I was really disappointed. So you
I'd
didn't get
like
burned
to add
as
to
bad as I
Michael.
did.
Yeah.
About that Animals, the 2022 version.
Yeah.
The one thing I did like about it was that the cover was different. You can look into your collection and instantly know which one's which. Whereas Dark Side of the Moon, you almost have to go to Dead Wax to find out which one you have.
Right.
Speaking of which, I hadn't gone over my Dark Side of the Moon collection in a while, and I catalog them through Discogs from the Dead Wax, and I have a 1997 reissue, and of course a 2011 remaster reissue. Then I have a reissue quadraphonic from Brazil. Then I also have another quadraphonic. I didn't realize I actually had 2 of them. And they're both, that's what year is that? The 73 quadraphonic. Then I have a 2003. That's the 30th anniversary. That's, and then of course the remaster repress, the clear one. That one's still sealed. I never bothered to open it. It was just a collector's thing. And then a 2016, which was a decent pressing. But I didn't realize I had 2 quadraphonics. And I'm not sure where the Brazilian plates came from. Maybe somebody might have a little more information about that, because I know sometimes they come from the States.
Yeah, I'll look at your list. I've got your list. I can tell you what it was.
Okay.
You know what's surprising, guys, is I'm going through the chat, you know, when people are talking, and I'm really surprised how many copies everybody has of some of these albums. I mean, I'm blown away. I mean, that's great.
I mean, you guys got me beat. I got 2 copies of some of the CDs, and that's because it's the original CD, and then I bought the remaster. I mean, you guys got me
right.
Although
I'm even digging my CDs.
Yeah. I do have a couple of things I could show off potentially, though.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if it's a rarity or not, but come across this. It's called London 1966 and 1967.
Okay. Oh, look at that.
And it's got a DVD.
Cool cover.
Yeah.
Like with a film featuring Interstellar Overdrive and Nick's Boogie. It's on CD and the DVD, plus some interviews and footage. It's pretty cool. It's got some pretty interesting artwork inside it.
Wow.
You know what, Royce? We haven't talked about something, and this is always on my desk right here. I'm sorry.
There's an
Go
original,
ahead, Chris.
The original part of the band.
Okay.
There you go.
That and Vinyl Piper mentioned the early years box set. I don't have the box set, but I have their sampler of it, and it's got the Zabriskie Point. It's got the soundtrack for that. Some BBC sessions, like for example, Careful with That Axe, Eugene, Cymbeline, and a few other songs I probably haven't heard of. But it's a pretty good mix. And then the last one I want to show you is I got Pulse, but I got the one with the actual Pulse in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
And a
Okay.
couple of other DVDs, The Story Behind Wish You Were Here,
Hospital Time.
and the story of Sid Barrett.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then,
He looks like Frodo to there, doesn't he?
Hobbit, yeah.
Put that back up, Chris. Put it back up. Of Sid Barrett. Damn,
Wow.
that's Frodo, man.
Michael
Yeah.
doesn't.
I
all right,
love that.
Oh, and my T-shirt in the background back there.
Right on. Hey, I want to say hi to Daddy Boggs, who just joined us. Thanks, Boggs. Good to see you,
Hey,
brother.
DB, good to see you.
Yeah, we go back. We go back.
You know what, Royce? Who was it? Yeah, Ben Scheidegger. Is that how you say your last name? Scheidegger. Says Sid Barrett walked into the "I Wish You Were Here" sessions when the band asked Sid what he thought of "Shine On You Crazy Diamond." He told them it sounded a little old, right?
Correct.
So, and further, I read just today, he didn't know it was about him. Had no idea.
Oh,
Clueless.
Wow.
Absolutely clueless.
Not to mention,
And that was the last time they ever saw Sid Barrett, by the way. And with the exception of Roger Waters said he saw him in a shop or someplace very quickly a couple of years later, but the rest of them never saw him again.
yeah, and when they did see him in the studio during that recording, he was bald. He shaved off his eyebrows and everything. Roger Waters was quoted as saying he had to go in the other room because he started crying when he saw him.
Well, at first they didn't recognize him,
No,
Chris.
as soon as they recognized him, that's what I meant. As soon as he recognized him, he had to go and have a good cry.
8 copies. Wish You Were Here. Wow.
That story gives me goosebumps.
Right.
I got something
right.
I'd like to show.
History.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do
I
you
just
think,
did
Mike?
I just did a 9 LP shootout of Wish You Were Here a week ago. So
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if anybody's seen this.
Yep.
Okay.
I got to catch up on
Okay,
your channel,
but-
David.
Hold on. Have
Yeah,
you seen
me too, Michael. We both did.
this?
Oh, that's
Oh,
cool.
wow.
No,
Look at
that's-
that.
30th anniversary, cut in 5.1 as well. This is a 30th anniversary CD.
is that an SACD or what is it?
Yep. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I just dropped the link. Here we go. It's a Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon on SACD 30th anniversary edition.
It's a hybrid.
Reissued on hybrid in 5.1 surround, 5.1's SACD mix from the original 16-track tape by longtime producer. Boy, if I could only read this fine print. Engineer James Guthrie.
James Guthrie, right?
New art and 20-page packet. Pink Floyd. Yep. Thought that's pretty cool when I
That is
got it.
cool.
That is so awesome.
And it is incredible. That's I think, and then I also have, I don't know if anybody done Revisited.
No.
This is by other artists.
Waters did.
Now this is done by other artists: King Crimson, Peter Gabriel, The Doors,
So it's a
Toto.
tribute album.
I'm sorry.
So kind of a tribute album.
Yeah,
Right.
and then of course,
Kind of like what McCartney did on McCartney 3, you know.
Storm Cop 55. I just want to thank you for showing up. I really appreciate you, brother. Thanks, man.
yeah, this
Yes,
is
always,
original
James.
UK release as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I couldn't even see Dan backstage. Let's see.
That's some
Let me
different stuff that I have as
let
well.
me go down, and Dan, we have you up,
But,
my man.
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
Yeah, there he is.
He's very topical.
Thanks. Once again, Dan, really, from my heart to you, thank you for your support early on my stream. I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah,
No
that was way
You
cool.
are
Yeah.
a rock star, bro.
Well, one thing, y'all been showing the albums. Not only did Pink Floyd have great music, but their album covers were unbelievable. And one thing there was a company called Hypnosis.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's by Aubrey Powell and Storm Thorgerson. And I guess one of them was friends with Sid Barrett, and asked him to, do the artwork for the album covers. And the work that went behind all those album covers, you wouldn't believe how much work went into it and how much thought went into it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They did a lot of Zeppelin stuff as well.
Yep. I think probably the best one I like, the story is the Wish You Were Here album, where the guy's on fire.
Fire, yeah.
They're trying to figure out, well, how are they going to do this? Are they going to have to draw in the fire or whatever? They said, no, the best way to depict a man on fire is to set a man on fire.
That's right.
Literally set this guy on fire like 5 times.
Yep. Just to get the right picture.
Full effect.
And I'm not sure how much he got. I'm not sure how much he got paid, but he was a stunt man though, so he was used to stuff like that.
Right. There was a couple of times during that shoot, Dan, that the flames actually shot toward the photographer.
Yeah.
They were in danger of that. That was a couple of the failed lightings of the man,
And these guys through hypnosis, the company Hypnosis, once they got started with Pink Floyd and Pink Floyd got pretty famous, everybody started coming to Hypnosis for their album covers. I mean, they did like Led Zeppelin, Paul McCartney, Peter Gabriel, 10cc, UFO, Wishbone Ash. They did all those.
Rolling Stones.
Wow.
They've got a great documentary on that for everybody. If you haven't seen that, what's the name of it?
Square in the Circle.
Square in the Circle, and it kind of tells the tale. Yeah, excellent documentary. Everybody ought to go see that.
Yeah, my wife caught that on YouTube TV, and we watched it together after that.
Hey, Royce, what about? Since we're talking about the different formats and everything with Pink Floyd and all of that, we talked about this the last time we covered Pink Floyd, but it hasn't been mentioned tonight. And I highly recommend anybody who is a Pink Floyd fan to get this film. Now, this version, of course, is Pink Floyd live at Pompeii. All right, let me bring it up a little bit. There's the cover of the version that I got. Now, with this version, you get 2 different versions of that film. You get the original one, the way I saw it as, what was I, 17 when that came out? 16, 17 years old? Depends. What year did this come out? 71-ish?
71.
71, I was 16. Okay. So, and then they have the new director's cut where he inserts a lot of, at the time that they released this version, a lot of the, planetary special effects interspersed with what they do. And that's worth a gander. But, the special effects they use doesn't even hold up by today's standards. And they were on a budget with that anyway. It's worth a gander. But the one that I recommend is the original released version. Watch that version without the director's cut. And what you get is the Pink Floyd of metal era, right? Performing what they do in a Roman freaking amphitheater, okay? Designed to sound so wonderful, empty. There's weeds growing out of the benches, right? Ancient. On the foot of Mount Vesuvius, and it's interspersed with, scenes of them walking by lava pits and everything during this. It's a wonderful experience, but it also includes, at the last minute, they took film of them recording Dark Side of the Moon. So interspersed with the metal era, you also see them working on what would become classic Pink Floyd. So you get a little bit of both. This is so well if not accurately, it's a damn good representation of the band at the time that they went into interstellar overdrive for sure, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so I did want to bring that out. I'm sorry, Chris. I was listening to you. I was off camera. I thought you were through, and I was trying to bring this up earlier. I didn't mean to step on your toes, brothers.
Oh, yeah.
But
That was sort of it.
without a doubt, if you haven't seen this and you like Pink Floyd, this is going to be worth your view. Definitely, I recommend owning a copy. Absolutely. And it's always back here when you see me on my videos. It's one of the ones that I kind of keep at hand at all time, right next to Beatles Anthology. You know, I've got that on the back of my desk. So it's a prized possession, and it's really worth purchasing it or renting it or whatever. Look on YouTube. Maybe they've got long sections of it. I think they do, actually. Yeah. And they're so wonderful, especially on the song that opens it up. Richard Wright is singing, so is David, and Echoes, and how the camera swings around behind the band and then back in front, and it's like that is my favorite performance by Pink Floyd, right there, captured on film. Man, they were hot. And look at that equipment. And then, David was talking, I think it was David who was talking about, no, it was Dan, talking about the 16 tracks and everything, right? Folks, at the time, see, we live in a world of infinite tracks. A few short years ago, it was 128 to 248 tracks. So we're not impressed with 16 tracks. All right. Now, I have done a ton of freaking recording, and I've done it up to on a 16 track tethered to 8 tracks together. Okay. So I know what I'm talking about. The amount of sound, matter of fact, there is an argument that rock and roll, anybody who's using more than 16 tracks and performing new rock and roll to offer a possible new generation is overusing technology. When you know how much you can get on there, how many stereo fields, and you're talking about 2.5-inch tape with these guys, right? And they can bounce and they're hitting 30 IPS. They can bounce a lot more than a guy like me in my home shop, right? And at that speed with the top tape, they could accomplish sounds. And listen to Dark Side of the Moon and tell me, has anything else taken its place in the history of freaking rock and roll that has more tracks on it?
No.
So why? See, this is leaning on technology. This is, I want his in-breath recorded on track 1 and his out-breath recorded on track 2. Or let's grab a trillion drum samples, click them up, use AI to see which ones to chop, and then go into, they can actually dial up a ABC comparison and assign 72 tracks with fake drums. We got to get past that. And Pink Floyd embraced technology. I love technology, but sometimes, sometimes you don't need much more than a good 55 Chevy to get you to the donut shop. Right?
Michael, do you know how many tracks Bruce Swedien used on Thriller?
I'm scared to even ask, David.
192.
And at that time, that was like, I can't even believe that existed.
Every
right?
creak, every sound was stereo. It wasn't just mono. So yeah, it was unbelievable. If you really tear it apart and listen to it.
Now, my experience is you're talking 16 tracks. Now, see, I was recording with 2 digital tracks, David, that had 8 tracks. One machine had 16 tracks under each track. So I could do these stereo mixes, sync them down below the audio level, bring up another 16 tracks, right? And I'm telling you, I found a good way to go insane. I used to just pull my hair out because it's impossible. But now they have AI to keep track of what level and when and any notes that you do, and it can actually go hunt and go. I like that one that was kind of bittersweet. It'll search back into any audio notes because you can do that now, right?
Yeah.
So, and my old machine, here's one of them right back here. It's an 8-track with 16 tracks underneath it. And I had an older one that I've let go of. I'm keeping this one because I got an old 2009 recording. One day, I swear to God, I'm going to finish writing and put out, and I'll do it on my channel. But, and that's why it's right here on my desk. But this technology right here is antiquated.
No,
It's
yeah,
antiquated.
for sure.
That's yesterday's news, these digital workstations. And guess what? You can still do some great shit on them,
Right,
and have a lot of fun with them. So you can take me down. I didn't mean to hog the whole thing.
Okay, well, I got to call everybody's attention to the message that's up from Ben. And did you guys read this? It says Live at Pompeii is going to be released, and Dolby Digital 5.1 with screenings at IMAX theaters, just like we had Making Led Zeppelin or Becoming Led Zeppelin IMAX theaters. The end of April. I had never heard that before.
Thanks so much, David. I'm going to look that up because I probably do a video on that. Thanks so much for that information.
I might have to go to
Blu-ray. It's coming on Blu-ray too, May 2nd.
See, here I'm the big proponent, and I also do kind of rock news occasionally on my channel. I hadn't heard.
Yeah, I watched the trailer last night.
All right, I got a little fun fact again for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This kind of talking, well, it's on May 15th, 1970, they did a 2.5-hour star billing set at Crystal Palace Garden Party, complete with fireworks and a 50-foot inflatable octopus, which rose from the lake while they played Return to the Sea of Nothing, which was later renamed Echoes. In Teeming Rain, they encored with Astronomy Domine. Unfortunately, the volume of the speakers killed the fish in the lake. They toured East Japan, East
Oh my God.
Australia in October and November 3rd, and then did another U.S. tour.
Wow. Killed the fish.
Yeah, the speakers were sold out to kill the fish, unfortunately.
We need more left barn, not right barn.
Yeah.
Hey, for those that have never had the opportunity to see Pink Floyd live, I would highly recommend, if they come to your area, Brit Floyd is a band that's authorized to play their music, and they are incredible.
Yeah.
There's another one that
hell of a
I've
show.
seen. Another band I've seen here in Windsor, and they tour, is Australian Pink Floyd. They're probably similar to what you're talking about, Nick, but I've seen them 4 times.
You could close your eyes with Brit Floyd and swear it was them.
Wow.
These guys are probably in the same class as far as
I have a video of them in Red Rocks, and I had a friend come over, and I said, I'm going to put on a video for you, but I don't want you to watch. He's like, huh? I said, I don't want you to watch till I tell you. And I started playing. He says, what's Pink Floyd? So what? What's the big deal? I said, open your eyes. And he looks again. He says, no, they're not lip syncing. They're playing. I said, yeah, they're that good, note for note.
Yeah, they're going to be in Dallas in August. I've got 2 second-row seats to see them, and I'm going to the pre-show. So I'm going to try to interview them on my
channel. Wow. I'm sorry. Could everybody hide their face? I got something for my buddy David.
I forgot about him until you mentioned him. Yeah.
I love you too, David.
Dallas isn't that far, Nick. Come on down.
I know. That's absolutely. When are they coming?
August something. I'll have to let you know.
Yeah, August something.
That would be fun.
By the way, there's a documentary DVD on Dark Side if you haven't seen it. It's the making of Dark Side. It's really
that would be
really
cool.
interesting. And Dark Side came out on Dolby Atmos also.
Wow.
Yeah, that came in the big bundle, the 50th anniversary, right?
So
I
much
bought it
out
separate
there.
as well.
Oh, okay.
Well, I understand that thumbs ups are doing pretty well. If there's anybody that hasn't hit the like button, please go for it.
Oh,
If there's
we hit
anybody out there-
53.
These.
If there's anybody out there that hasn't yet subscribed to Royce in the House, please do that too, and hit that notification bell for a one-time notification. Do I sound like a carnival barker or what?
Yeah,
Hooray, hooray, hooray.
Step right up, step right up.
Just a penny laddie.
you broke 50, so there you go. You're 50.
Come
Yeah,
see the
yeah.
bearded woman.
The bearded woman.
I have a personal
Okay.
anecdote today I picked up from connection to Pink Floyd today. I was talking to David Plastic. He was a well-known rock photographer, and he photographed Eric Clapton on Roger Waters' first tour, the Hitchhikers album. So I asked him if he's ever met Mick Rock. Mick Rock is also another well-known photographer. He said no, he didn't go to Britain that often. But, you know, it was so serendipitous that I picked up that anecdote today, and I'm up on the show here. So
Nice. I just put you up on the screen. I guess I'll have to go back down now.
well, the reason why I'm wearing this shirt today, Deep Purple,
right,
is
right.
you know, like Pink Floyd. But David Gilmour, the drummer, and then they had the drummer from Deep Purple, Ian Pace, and Paul McCartney. In the early 2000s, they played at the Cavern Club. Lots of early Beatles songs.
Early Beatles,
and
yeah.
It was a rockin' set. Yeah, good crowd.
Yeah, I have an album of that Beatles at the Cavern Club. There's two of them. I've got one of them. I imagine, David, I bet you've got both of them, don't you?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Yeah.
I think I have the second album. I need to get the first one. I've seen it. I could have bought it before now. I just haven't.
You know, Royce, I got a box here that is I never opened this. And it says
nice.
it says it has a record store day Pink Floyd. So I've got to see because this is
Let's see it.
Oh,
saucer full of secrets, mono.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
Mono too.
Yep. Remastered. Yeah, mono. This is from record store day. I don't remember what year.
That's 2 years ago, I think.
Longer than that, I think, Nick.
Yeah, I'd have to look in my.
I think it was. Let's see. When did the UPS send this to me? 2019.
Oh,
Wow, how time flies.
Yeah.
So I haven't opened this since 2019. That's so here I am opening stuff on Royce's show. There you go.
I like this comment from TJRS. You know, he saw Roger Waters 5 times. And
I saw that. Yeah.
Stopped after I saw him lip syncing.
I was going to suggest to bring up that comment. There's been accusations of Roger Waters. Yeah, listen to his voice. He can't reach what he used to. You know,
right. Sure.
That's pretty clear. You know.
Yeah.
Well, before he got caught lip syncing that, I remember it was probably 2017 or 2018. I brought my dad before he got sick to go see Roger Waters. And man, it was a great show. And he started, he was doing a little bit of his, actually it was 2015. It was when Trump was still running for president the first time. And Roger Waters was doing all his political crap. But then he started talking about being in Detroit and the experience they have with the Detroit and the Windsor audience. It's pretty unique in rock. I mean, there's a ton of songs that classic rock artists have written about Detroit. But he's actually started talking about it and broke down crying during his monologue in between songs. And that was the second time I've seen somebody cry on stage. I saw was it Tony Iommi cry on stage when Ozzy had 20,000 people singing happy birthday and Tony's wife brought a cake out on stage to him. But
you should have shown up at a couple of sets I've played, brother. You would have seen somebody crying.
That was the crowd crying.
Hey, Michael, you've done a number of shows addressing Roger Waters and politics and stuff. I'd like to get a little bit of that from you tonight, if I could.
Well, what I've said, actually, we're going to cover that on the stream earlier tonight. And he was up to bat when I kind of ran out of time.
Gotcha.
you know, if there is one person on my channel that I have lost more subscribers talking about, it is Roger Waters, right? I don't talk politics on my channel. I don't talk religion.
Right.
I figure there's enough disagreement just within the realm of classic rock. I can handle about that much drama, right? And on every single video that I've ever done with Roger Waters, I have always expounded his genius, what a major fan I am of what he's accomplished.
Right.
He is truly a genius artist of classic rock and is responsible for some of the very best music of my entire life. Now, I'll say that every single freaking time.
Yes,
but
you do. You do. Yeah.
The video is like a news kind of video, and it's a response that he made. Like, for example, I did a video tied around his remark where he was getting criticism from a couple of people at a show, and it was the famous time when he says, listen, want to hear what he has to say or not, he's gonna say it no matter. And I've criticized that as being next to being a freaking induction center, in my opinion, because you're inviting a safe audience. And when you invite a safe audience, then you get clicks, and then you get a power structure within that click audience. And they absolutely, see, I'll lose subscribers by saying this right here. I swear to God I will. All right. It becomes a click. It becomes a political click. And I'm not against artists making a political stand, but do it in your art. And then present it to the world, and then let us get out of it, the audience, what we want to get out of it. All right. So his reinvention, I'll tell you, I criticized him for saying that he wrote the entire Dark Side of the Moon, which is a bold freaking faced lie. He did not. He wrote all the lyrics, right? But there were other writers that even Nick Mason put a piece together, and it's part of the experience. It's part of Dark Side of the Moon. And now with his real safe minions, fans out there who agree with him politically, who agree with his spiritual stances in life and everything, because that's all, for the most part, that go to his show, or people who can manage to shut up because they still like the music and they get squished. There's no discourse or anything at his shows, right? And then on top of this, his whole sense of I'm just a real guy, and he's freaking lip syncing, and within his safe cocoon, he's trying to rewrite history. He claimed to write the entire Dark Side of the Moon, and it's a bold-faced lie. And how my whole stream tonight, Royce, was about good guys in rock, right? Right. But in order to get to the good guys in rock, you got to identify the bad guys in rock. And to me personally, and if anybody disagrees with me on the panel or out in the audience, I always say this: that's fine. I'm just giving you my spin. And I can hear you criticize what I'm saying right now. Doesn't mean we have to get into fisticuffs or anything like that. I'm just a guy with my experience, sharing my point of view. And I openly invite everybody in my channel to always interact with me. I spend a lot of time writing back to them. It's often in shorthand because I've got so many comments, right? So I'm against any rocker, any entity, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, any business, the music industry, that starts rewriting history. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is trying to rewrite history by redefining what rock and roll is with every single loudmouth expression from John Dykes? The rock and roll, John Sykes, sorry. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame chairman of the board with his expressions, and we get silly nominations like Mariah Carey, who, God, you know, I'll tell you, there are so many subgenres in rock and roll, Royce, that it's hard to define that. But it's pretty damn easy to realize what isn't rock and roll. When I listen to Mozart, I hear elements that rock took from, so I can almost hear a rock in that. But it's not rock and roll.
Right.
All right. Hip hop has its beginnings in inner city. Blues and rock, therefore rock has its beginnings either in the Deep South or in the Appalachian Mountains. And then you've also got a European blend in with that, but very Americana. All right. And it has to come from there. Not like what John Sykes says, if your hit is played next to a rocker, therefore you're a rocker. Bullshit. Anyway, so getting back to Roger Waters, you asked me what I think about him. He's a bad guy in rock right now. He's crawled up his own arsehole of an ego, as far as I'm concerned. And I wish he would just get back, even if I disagreed with him, to making new music that's worth listening, because lately it hasn't been that stellar to me. What does the rest of the panel think about this? I'd rather hear what they have to say.
Well, first of all, let me just say one thing real quick.
Sure.
James Watson said something I just loved. He doesn't want to hear rock and roll artists, rant in their songs politically, unless it's Bob Dylan and Frank Zappa. James, I agree 100%. Okay.
I think they should say burn down the White House, whatever they want in their lyrics, and then let the public decide if they want to listen to that and everything else. I'm all freedom of speech, baby. All right.
Oh, yeah.
That
me
I don't
too.
want that taken away. But forced speech, forced encampments of an audience to create a hive mind ain't my kind of America.
No.
And I'll always believe that.
Freedom of speech all the way. I just loved what he said, because I've gotten into Zappa. Michael, you mentioned tonight on your show, I've been getting into Zappa a lot.
Yep.
And I actually enjoy and agree with everything he says politically, or said. It's been a long time now. But anyway, I'm going to leave everybody up now for the rest of the show. We're kind of winding down here a little bit. We'll be kind of more of a closing comments kind of a thing, go around the horn, everybody talk a little bit. I'll just start out by saying, guys, I got to be honest with you. And this show is a perfect example of it. The more I learn about, different bands and music, the more I realize I don't know, I mean, it's just endless. There's no end to what you can learn about our classic rock bands. And
I've learned a ton of stuff tonight from the panel that I didn't know.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Same here. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Chris, anything you want to say before we sign off here?
I don't know. I just if we ever do this show again and we go through the albums and that, there's a few things I wouldn't mind saying about the individual albums if we decide to do that in the future. There's one thing I've noticed. I've had some people disagree, but other people's kind of agree with me. If you want to hear the beginnings, at least in my opinion, of Dark Side of the Moon, give Obscured by Clouds a listen. You can hear the beginnings of some of the ideas, some of the acoustic stuff on there. You can hear being morphed into Dark Side of the Moon. So give that a listen and keep it in mind.
Right. That's interesting. Thank you. Nick?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I'd like to add that if you're not learning something, and whatever environment you're in, you're not sucking air. You're not alive. You're no longer participating in this miracle called life.
Right. Good point. Okay, David?
I just tag on to Michael. I did a video on Roger called The Dark Side of the Loon.
That's great.
So if you want to look at it on my channel, you'll see what that was.
That's outstanding.
As much as I would love to hear that music live now, because I've seen them in the past, but it's kind of like I don't run a $250 seat hostage crisis. I really that's day 7 of the hostage crisis. It's like so I'm with Michael 100%. Put it in the music. I respect that. I get that. That's what it's for. But Pink Floyd overall has given us just such a wide variety of music. And, do yourself a favor. If you've never listened to Pink Floyd on headphones, you're missing something.
Yeah.
That's my last thing.
Amen to that.
My turn.
Yeah.
So I have an unopened, sealed copy of Pink Floyd: The Endless River here, and I'm selling it for $70 USD. So if anyone's interested, hit me up, and you can get yourself a new Pink Floyd album.
Oh wow, that's
New
cool.
old stock.
Thanks for having me on the show tonight, guys.
Thanks for joining us,
Good to be with
Dawson.
you, buddy.
Okay, I think I'm going to drop straight down to Dan and then go right back up. Just kind of do a V here. Dan.
Well, yeah, I saw Pink Floyd one time in concert, and I may take a chance on this Brit Floyd. Just check him out.
They're awesome.
It's got my curiosity up.
But I was just looking at the ticket prices. They are kind of pricey for a tribute.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
What do they go for, Dan?
Well, here in Dallas, I'm looking at 2 tickets with fees and everything. For 2 tickets, $376 for a tribute band. So it's kind of.
That's a little, yeah.
Let me tell you a secret, Dan.
What's that?
The PBS station in Dallas, KERA, played their video on a Sunday night, and I got 2 tickets in the second row and pre-show for $250.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. So you might want to see if that's going to be played again, and if it is, if you get that membership, you'll be able to get those tickets for $250 all in.
And that's on August 5th, right? I believe it's August 5th. Yeah.
That's the date, Nick. August 5th. There you go.
Wow.
Well, I have to wait and see. That's kind of price. Now those are good seats. Those are like.
That's a great
Tuesday.
That's a great acoustic hall.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, I think so.
Though, huh?
Well, it does show on the website it's a high demand for these tickets. So.
Well, after this show, there's going to be a higher demand. So
yeah.
You better rush out and get them, Dan.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to jump on up to Michael.
I was just going to say I enjoyed being on the panel tonight as always, Royce. Thanks for having me on.
You're quite welcome. We enjoyed having you.
I did want to conclude by saying I agree with Chris. Even though we covered a lot of ground tonight, we have barely covered, scratched the surface on the subject.
You're so right.
I could have easily gone into just when I was mentioning and showing the Animals album, what it took to record that. We were talking about the 16 tracks and utilize, and that was top of the line. Man, nobody could believe you actually got that much real estate to record with. But it wasn't just that. It was around that time that Pink Floyd bought a whole block of church halls, and interconnected them and created a massive recording studio. All right. And they used that to create Animals and then later on The Wall. Okay. So these were artists who were thinking big. This is like, the time when the Chrysler building went up, this was monstrous accomplishments by for the first time, multimillionaire artists who were still in love with the idea to create and did so over the money. And if I have one thing to say about Pink Floyd, they are one of the top echelon bands of classic rock. I'd name them the 3rd most important band of classic rock underneath the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, respectively.
Well, it's hard to argue with that, Michael. Hard to argue with that. Yeah. Well said for sure. Okay, well, guys, I can't believe how lucky I am to have such a great panel tonight. I appreciate all of you guys David, it was extra special to see you jump
Yeah.
in with us again.
Thank
Same
you,
with
guys.
you, Dan.
Appreciate it.
Same with you,
Yeah,
Dan.
Dan
Thank you.
too. Yep.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, and good to see you coming back into the fold and getting back into it. You know.
It's almost like old homes week, Dan.
Yeah, Homes Week. Yeah, yeah. I think we're in and out of about 2 years together, something like that. I don't mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Except
between
Well, I
all the
spent
things.
I spent some change being on the panel with Dan. I was there for a while with Dan.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
So yeah,
You were
Dan
there.
being up here, it's like I mean it. It feels like old homes week. You know.
No,
You know,
I
that's what-
know.
It's about,
Yeah.
the, it's about the only good, you know, it's about the only good thing that came out of the pandemic, really.
There you go.
Right,
Good
right.
perspective.
Those were the days.
The pandemic cost me my third Rolling Stones concert. We were all set up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had the tickets to the show. We had a hotel room, even though it's just a 5-hour drive. We're not going to drive home after the concert. We'll spend the night in the hotel. We had the tickets bought. We had a rental car. We weren't even going to drive our own car. Everything was set, and COVID hit, and they basically said it's not a cancellation, it's a postponement. So Ticketmaster wasn't giving us our money back. And I called them like a dozen times. No, it's just a postponement. We don't give monies back. They're still going to play. And so finally I got pissed off and I called them. Well, I've been pissed off through multiple calls. And they said, "Oh, we sent you an email. There was a window of time you could have asked for a refund and we would have given it to you." And then my wife called them. Okay. She reminds me of my mother a lot. The way my mother would get on the phone and get whatever she wanted from anybody she called. But anyway, she wound up calling them and ripping them a new one. And before the day was over, the money was redeposited into my checking account.
Yeah, there you go.
Now I've told Betty not to start a conversation with the words "I have 3 hand grenades." All right.
Pretty much. So anyway,
and I'm willing to use them.
And I only have 2 pins.
Somebody's going. Oh Lord.
So anyway, to anybody that's left in the chat, thank you so much for being here. We had an excellent time tonight. Loved everything that the chat had to say, and loved the panel tonight. And man, this has been a good show. And let's just keep it going, guys. Let's keep it going. And that's what's happening in Royce's world tonight. Thank you all so very much for joining me. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.
See you guys next week.
Yep.
See y'all.